3D printing has a real enemy, and in my climate I suffer more than most. If you've ever dealt with stringing or bubbles, you'll know it's a real problem. PLA is not too bad, but PETG, ABS, ASA and TPU will all be affected if they're too wet. Today we're looking at what I hope will be a solution. It's the EIBOS Series X Tetras. I bought this unit myself and have been testing the dehumidifier to see if it can make my prints be consistently better. So this is by, excuse the pronunciation, AMS. It's a dehumidifier that has 4 chambers, and you can dehumidify each individual chamber. So this is the box. Now I ordered this direct from AMS, and when I ordered it, it said it was in stock in Sydney, going back about 4 weeks I suppose. And 2 days after I ordered it, there was no sign of them shipping it. So I thought I'll just reach out and see what's going on, and didn't hear anything back from them until the 4th day, when they told me that it was in fact out of stock. And then I had to wait another 3 weeks for them to come back into stock, at which point they on the Friday I got a shipping note to say it was about to be dispatched by, of all people, Aramex. I don't, maybe it's just to my region, but boy, I have a problem with them. So it was shipped. Well, the tracking number was given on the Friday, and then it didn't actually, Aramex said they didn't receive it until the Monday. So yeah, that's good. Monday, that's back quite well. Anyway, Monday, it said that it was in transit from the depot to its next station, wherever that might be. That was on the Monday, and by the Thursday, it still said in tracking to the next shipping point. So they don't actually update their shipping notes. It would be really nice to know when it might come.
So I won't make you sit through a long unboxing of this thing. I'll just skip through it, and you'll get some idea of the sheer number of parts there are in there. There are quite a few. So I'll just take you through the assembly of this thing. I'll speed it up so it's not the long drawn out process that it actually is. There's quite a few components that you've got to deal with. And first off, we need our old AMS. This is an AMS 1. Apparently you can use this on the AMS 2, but there's some modifications you have to make to the kit. So we'll just take out the old filament. Store those away safely. And you can see in there that I've pre-3D printed a kit for holding desiccant to replace the existing bottom panels, and added in those things at the front there, which I'm just removing. I'm not going to be able to use those in future because I believe that the kit actually blocks those holes up. Okay, refer to the instructions. The instructions are actually quite good. There's no written instructions, they're just one of these, like IKEA pictures, and sometimes they can be a little vague. Now this is where that long screwdriver comes in handy. It's a little hex bit, but it's on the end of a long handle, and those screws are set quite deep down into the body of the original AMS, and you have to remove those bolts. There's 2 on each side. Careful not to drop the bits, as I did. Just extract those, and it is slightly magnetic, the screwdriver, which helps you fish them out. Without this long driver, I don't think you'd be able to get these out. So we're not going to be using that old lid in future. I could just put that in storage. Okay, so here's the new lid, and the new lid has the 4 heating chambers built into the back of it. It's quite heavy, and you need a little bit more height clearance than you did on the old one. I think it's about 40 mil extra height when the top's open, so you can access the reels. So the top goes on, and you reuse the original hinges. The base of the AMS is unaltered. It has the same electrical connection and that tube. So the 3D printer itself doesn't know that this heat chamber exists. It's a completely separate operating unit. It has its own power plug, etc. It's an add-on, which is actually a good thing in a way. You don't have to use the heat chamber. So the first thing is to install the legs using the supplied screws. These raise it up that 40mm or so you can get the cabling underneath. So I've put all 4 legs on, and now for the wiring. This is the data cables for the heads. So you have a data cable that leads from the little control head at the front of the screen to the heating unit at the back, and they route through these clips on the feet. You'll work it out eventually. They're all very well labelled. They've got those little white labels on them that tell you where they're supposed to go. So I've got those in place, and now for it's like a power distribution board, I suppose you'd call this. That attaches to the back there somewhere. So the distribution panel goes up that way and connects to the legs. I discovered that it's actually better to not do the screws on the feet up completely until you've installed this. They don't line up otherwise, or mine didn't. Just screw that on. So having put that on, it's time for the panel for the front. I don't know what you'd call this, a screen panel. Anyway, it holds all of the little display screens. Plug in the USBs. They're all USB-Cs. As I say, they're all, you can work out which one's which. Cables sort of bend underneath like that. And there I'm adding the little rubber feet to protect the glass on the top of your 3D printer. And now it's time to flip it over. And now we've got to assemble all of the internal bits. There's quite a few bits of plastic for this. There's pointy bits and flat long bits and perspex bits. And the instructions give you a guide, but they're not perfect. But you get there. So that's about it. Just put the filament back in and we're away we go. Took me about an hour, as I said before, but I'm pretty sure you could do it in 20 minutes if you knew what you were doing. Some mysterious looking pieces of plastic. Just have to be logical and work out where they go. Anyway, all good.
So in the way that I originally assembled this thing, there's clearly an error. I mean, what they do is they give you these covers to cover and try and isolate the chambers as much as possible. But because I took out my desiccant holder, it's empty and has got a clear airflow. Now this is the grill that they give you with the AMS when you first purchase it, but that's got holes in it too. So what I've done is I found a model for a blanking plate. Having a 3D printer, it's an obvious thing to print, so I'm just going to put that in there. Fits quite well. Plate back. So now it's better, at least isolated. You think they would have included them really, but they didn't. So anyway, it's an easy print. So I think that will help. So I'm not going to go through all of the functions of this, read the manual, but basically, power on. You have two stages of power on. So first power on, it will start to work out what the actual relative humidity is. You can see there it says RH%, currently 31 in the chamber. If you another click, that's a maintenance stage. After the first menu has run its course, has counted down the time that you saw there, it goes into this maintenance stage, and then obviously you have off. But so back to the first menu, you can see this current one is set to PETG, and it's 28.1 degrees C inside the chamber, and that's rising. That takes it up to I think it's 35 or thereabouts, and it's going to run for 2 hours. Now you can change all of those settings, or we can change the time, and then you have a fan. You can turn the fan off, and you can set your target relative humidity. There's PETG in there at the moment, but if you want to change the filament type, you've got PLA. These are memory 2, so you can set some memories. You can program them so they you can always get back to your bespoke filament settings. ABS, PETG again, PLA, M2, M1, TPU, ABS. So pretty straightforward really. I'll turn all the others on. PETG, PLA, ABS. That's what we've got in there at the moment. So this was printed in PETG filament, which was dried by the recommended settings on the machine. And I think you could agree that it's pretty good print. There's certainly no stringing or bubbles. So the shipping experience was a bit of a mess, but in the end I think the results speak for themselves. This is, I think, the solution that I hoped it would be. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope the video was some help to you, and I think I can recommend this unit. Thanks for your time.